How are you all? I hope you all are good. You all are doing very well. So, how's the revision is going on for each and every chapter? Do you find interesting all of your chapters? So, what we are going to do today is that we are going to start our new chapter, which is called as the changes around us. Okay, students. Now it's just that we have to see that what new things we are going to find out in this chapter. As this chapter is very, very interesting, students. After reading this chapter, what you are going to find out, when you watch this video, after some time, whenever you are going to any of the place and you are observing any of the changes, so in your mind it will be coming like whether it is a kind, which kind of change, because we are going to see that kind of changes in this chapter and what are the definitions and what are the classification of all of these. Fine. So are you ready to start with this chapter? Okay, so first of all, what should I do? I should introduce myself. So, my dear students, my name is Arushi Sharma, and I'll be your chemistry teacher for this chapter. And yes, we are going to start this chapter. Okay. So, students, okay, like before starting the chapter, actual chapter, that what we are going to study today is, I want to tell you a very important thing about this chapter is that you can see that the name of this chapter is the changes around us. So, can you imagine, like the name of the chapter is only changes around us. So, whatever the changes are going on around us, whether it will be, if I say changing of day or night, or I'm saying that changing of food, like you can say food to the eatables as all, like food is also eatable, but we can't eat raw vegetables na, like we have to cook it, so that's why I'm saying it as the eatable. Okay, so don't get me wrong. So you can see that all of the things are going as change only, even though like if this time I'm talking to you and after some time if I stop talking to you, if I stop explaining things to you, so that is also a kind of change. You'll say, ma'am, that what happened to my teacher, she is not teaching us. Exactly. And even though the position of my hands are changing, so all of these are the changes around it. So my dear, so students, what we can see that the changes are the important thing in our life. Why? You will say that ma'am is saying why changes are important, because student, you can imagine if one day there is day and if one day at and the another now the next day it will be like night for whole day, so how you feel about it? You want the change na, as well. Like now at this time, after listening this one, some of the students are thinking, ma'am, there are some places where for a whole time, like for a some period of time, there is only a day and there is only a night. So you can imagine that how people are managing over there. Exactly. So that is why student changes are always there whenever you are going to find it out. And even though like change, any kind of change you can imagine, like now you are in class 6th, after completing your class 6 you are going to class 7th, it is also kind of change. Exactly. Before you was in class 5th, now you are in class 6, so that is also kind of change. So that's how student, the changes are all around us, and that's how we are going to see different type of changes from the point of view of science. Okay, from the point of view of science, basically from chemistry. Fine, students. And what else I can tell you about this chapter is that the things which you are going to study in this chapter contains very important thing. Why? Because when you are going to higher classes, if I say in class 8, even though in class 9th or in class 10th, you are going to find out some of the topics there as well. Okay, so students, you can see that how CBSE is building a syllabus so that you are reading a very small part in your small grade, and then the advanced part is coming into your higher grades. But it's just that student, first of all, your basics must be clear. So that is why we have to study all of these things right now. Now you'll say that, now ma'am, all is done, now I'm ready to start with chapter, so just start. Exactly. So now I'm not going to take even a single extra second from you, and we just start with this chapter. Okay, so these are the topics which we are going to study today. Exactly. So that is the introduction. That first of all, even though I have given you the introduction of this chapter already, and then what we are going to find out, that I have told you, like changes are always around us, any kind of change. So particularly the change which we are going to study today is change in size, change in shape, change in position, reversible and irreversible changes, physical changes, and the chemical changes. So all these things are we are going to study in this session. Okay, so starting with the introduction, students. But before introduction, I would like to ask you that every day, like exactly students, like it's for every day, like we come across different type of changes. Exactly that if you can say like when you wake up in the morning, so when you have slept at that time, so it was the night, and when you wake up in the morning, so now it's the morning. That means the daytime. So you can say it is also kind of change. So you can say that this thing that just from starting of your day you are what I can say that you are used to that thing to see the changes. Exactly like turning day into night, night into a day, rising and setting of sun and moon. Exactly, and all of these changes are very like stick to their schedule. Exactly, it's not like that na, that one day sun is coming and after some time the sun is thinking like no, today I don't want to go. Then moon will say no, today I just want to sleep, I'll not go anywhere. So you can see now that after sun that moon will be there, and after moon the sun will be there. So that is how you can see that these all are the kind of repetition is going on, and which is also very important. Exactly student, even though you'll say ma'am some of days like we can observe that sun is not there, but it's just because of students sun will rise always. It's just that we are having clouds, rainy season is there, so that is why we can't see that sun. Okay, but the sun is always there. So these all are the changes which you are observing in your surrounding. Okay, like changing of water into ice, ice into water. So you can see these all are the changes which are going on. Exactly, like for example student, what happened like when there is a summer season, so obviously everyone wants to drink a cold water. Exactly, no one wants to take a hot water na, everyone wants a cool water. So what we do, like we just freeze our water so that we can drink it and we can just get cool in the summer season. But in the winter season what we'll do, we just want a very normal water or warm kind of water. Exactly, so that is how student, this is also kind of change. So that's how we are surrounded by the change, and that's the chapter we are going to start today. Now first of all, that I have told you that okay, we are going to study about the changes around us. Now what kind of change, like on what basis we are saying that okay we are able to see the changes. Exactly, that day into night, night into day, all of the things are there, but now we are having some kind of, you can say some kind of properties as well. On that basis we can say yes, there are the changes. Exactly, so first of all there is the change in size. Now size changing, so as you can see in this picture that this kind of like this is a cartoon kind of thing. Exactly, I can't say that this is a boy or this is a girl. It's a cartoon kind of thing, and what he is doing right now, that he's just blowing the balloon, and after see you can see that there is a change in the size of the balloon. First it was very small, and after blowing air into that, you have also observed this thing that after blowing balloon the change of the balloon get changed. So that's how student you can see that the change in the size is also one of the important thing which you observe in your surrounding. For example student, if I tell you like if I ask you like when you were the age of 2 years, so that time your height was very, like you can say that the height which you are having right now, it is you can say it is more than that time. Exactly, that means your size is also changing. So that's how student we are having so many changes around it depending upon the change of size as well. So when there is a change in size of objects, so we say that the change which we are getting, it is because of the size change. For example, blowing of balloon, increasing of nails and hairs. Okay, so that's how student you can see that the nails increase day by day. That's why we need to cut them on the regular basis. Exactly, like in our schools, so what happened that every day there is a kind of the checking system is going on, that our teacher checks our nails that whether we have proper dressing sense or not. Because in schools they don't allow to increase the nail. Exactly, they want that students should be come to school in a very wise form. So that is why what they are like, if some students are having increased nails, so either they give the notice to their parents that just send your child in a very formal kind of thing. So that is why student increasing of nail is a kind of the change in shape. Exactly, that before it is small, then after some time you can see they just grow. Exactly, so that's the change in the shape. Hairs, that student you can see that our hair which we are having. So you can see that generally girls, girls can relate to this thing, that we have to go for haircut on a regular basis. It's like after 2 months or 3 months we want a kind of haircut, exactly. Because there is a length of our hair and we want different kind of haircut. Even the boys also go, but I'm not I'm not doing any kind of partial thing. It's just that girls are very particular about their haircut, so that's why. But nowadays boys are also very much particular. So that is the change in size, that when there is a change according to their size, that we can say it's not always about small to big, it can be big to small as well. For example, when you are blowing the balloon, so you can see that there is a change in the size, and the balloon and the size is increasing. But what can happen, student, when when you pin that balloon, so what happened, that all of the air comes out from that and the size of the balloon get reduced. So that is why you can see that there is a change in the size, whether it can go from small to big or from big to small. So that's not the thing, but it should be a change. Okay, so now you'll ask, ma'am, it's always like from small to big, or it's like a no, it can be from big to small as well. For example, student, that growing of plants, exactly. First of all, in the growing of plants, what we can see, we are having seeds, that from the seed they start forming the plant. Okay, small kind of plant. And from that plant, after some time, what we'll observe, that there are the different kind of trees, that, okay, depending upon the type of the plant which we are growing. For example, if we talk about banyan tree, so banyan tree is huge one, exactly, like it will occupy a large space. But if we talk about coconut tree, so it's just like it is very tall, but it's just that they start growing from seed only. So that's how students seeds, plants and trees. So you can see that the growing of plant is also a kind of the change in size only, exactly. So that's the change in size, student. So I hope you got the point about the change in size, that this is also kind of change which we observe in our surrounding. Fine. Now it is about change in shape, that how the shape is going to be changed. That when we see, when any of the object or thing is changing its size, so it is also kind of change. For example, making of aircraft from paper. Exactly. First of all, we are having a paper, and from that paper, oh my god, how should I draw the aircraft? Uh, Exactly. Just don't go over my drawing skills. It's just that I'm just trying to make you understand that first of all there is a piece of paper, and after folding it from here and there, we just convert it into the aircraft. So you can say that that the shape of the paper also got changed. Change of baby into adults. Now why we are saying that, it could be a change in the size also, but yes, it is the baby into adults. How? Because babies are very small, whereas the you can say the adult one, so their size is also getting changed, exactly. So these all are the examples, students. Oh my god, this is a kind of you'll say, ma'am, you are drawing something here. Just give me a minute, I'll just draw it. Okay, now it's done. Actually, it happens sometime. Okay, so don't worry about it. So you can see that one example you can see from here. I'll just show you again. See, there is the changing of ice to water. Ice is melting to water. So that is also kind of shape. Like, first of all, ice is present in the form of the cubes. Exactly. Ice is a solid form, and we generally find out the ice in the form of the cubes. Like, it depends upon the type of the container we are taking, so that we can freeze the water. It could be of any shape. It's not like that, but the tray which we use in our house, it generally has a kind of cube like of structure, exactly. So that is why we get the ice solid. But after melting of the ice, what we observe, that ice converts into the water is a liquid. So you can see that the shape is changing. First it is having the solid shape, and after some time, after melting of the ice, it is having the liquid state, liquid shape. So these all are the changes, student, which you can observe on the basis of their shape changing. Fine. So these are the change in the shape. Now, change in position. That if I talk about change in position, right now I am here. If I move here, So you can see I have changed my position. If I move again here, so you can see now I have changed my position. So it's a very simple thing which you can easily understand. That change in position is what? Like first of all, you are standing in your room, and after some time you are standing in the kitchen. So now you have changed your position. Exactly. So whenever any of the thing or the object move from one place to another place, so we can observe there is a change in the position. For example, rotation of earth around the sun. You can see, student, in this picture that this is the earth, and this earth is revolving around the sun. And when it is revolving around the sun, so earth is changing its position continuously. Exactly. It's not like that the earth is there, so it is changing its position, like it is rotating. So that is why you can say that the earth is changing its position around the sun. Movement of vehicles. Obviously, students, why we use the vehicle? So that we can change our positions. Now, like first of all, when you want to go to your school through your school bus, so initially your school bus come near to your station, or I can say pickup point. Okay. So you have to, first of all, you have to go to that pickup point from your house. So that is the first position change. After that, from that pickup point, you just go into your school bus, and then your school bus drop to you at your school. So that's the second position change. So that's how, student, you can see that at each and every moment when you were traveling through your bus, or when you are going from your house to your pickup point, so that's how, student, you can see that every moment the position is changing. Because first of all, what you can see, that first of all you were in your house, after some time you are getting out of your house, so that is also kind of changing position. So that's the only thing, that when any object or a thing changes its position by going from one place to another place, so that is called as the change in position. Like first of all, if I say this pen is at, okay, that if I say that this pen is here, okay, and now this is here, now this is here, this is here, so that's why I'm changing so much of position. How? That it is moving from here and there. Exactly. Even though now you'll say, ma'am, how the non-living things are changing their position? So it's just living beings who are changing their position. Example, student, that first of all your table, like your study table which you have kept in your room, now you have shifted your table to your parents room. So that's how you can say that the table has, like, you have changed the position of the table. Exactly. Like what happened, like when you come to your house after attending your school, so you just place your bag anywhere, and then your mother shouted at you that just put your bag at a particular place. So that's how you, after that, you keep your bag at a very particular place, and that's how you are changing the position of that bag. So that is why, student, there is always a change in position in a thing or object when they move from one place to another place. So that's how, student, we have seen that these are the three changes which we generally see around us. That is change in size, change in shape, and change in position. Now, on depending all of these things, we are going to study some of the type of the changes which you are observing in your daily life, and these changes are also going to become as a topic in your higher classes. Okay, so I would like you to read all of those changes very carefully. Okay, so now can we start with that? Good. So it's that reversible changes. Now, from the reversible changes, that means from the reverse word, reversible only, what you observe, that this is the reversible changes. So you can say that the type of the changes which can be reversed by one or any method, so we call it as the reverse change. Okay, so you can see, student, that in this picture which you are observing here, that this lady, that she is just reversing the change. That first of all it is shiny one, and after moving it back, you can see that you are observing that change. Now they are reversible in nature. So that type of changes which can be reversed easily, so we call it as the reversible changes. Fine. For example, when you are having ice in your refrigerator, okay, you have freeze that ice. After some time, when you pick out that ice from the refrigerator and you put it, like you can say, in the open surrounding or outside the refrigerator, so what you'll see, that ice will convert into the liquid, that is the liquid water. Fine. So that's why, student, you can see now if you again store that liquid into the refrigerator, so this liquid again freezes to ice. So that's how, student, by you can say that the ice can be converted into the liquid and the liquid can also convert into the ice. So that is how, student, you can see that this is a kind of the reversible change. Exactly. And a very important thing about a reversible change is that mostly, it's not like that I'm talking about each and every type of process, that mostly a new substance is not formed here according to the reversible change. When there is the reversible change, so new substance is not going to be formed, like when there is the ice and when it is converting to the liquid, or when then liquid is again converting into the ice, so you can see that there is no any other new substance is going to be formed. Exactly. So that's how you are not finding any new substance at that point. So reversible changes are those changes which can be reversed by any, like by one or many methods, and it's just that you don't find any new substance formation. Okay, like in this picture also which is given here, you can see like this lady is reversing the color of this pillow, but have you seen that any other new kind of thing has been formed after this? Exactly, no. So that is how you can say that the reversible changes, in the case of the reversible changes, we don't find any new substance after the change has been done. It's just that they are reversible in nature, that you can convert A form to B form and then B to the A. So that's how these are the reversible changes. Now, if I ask you that what would be the other examples of reversible changes, so will you be able to answer that? Reversible changes I'm talking about. So it's like ice to liquid. And then, student, it is also a thing that when you boil the water and there are the vapors, and when you condense those vapors, so again you get the liquid. If you remember that I have told you about the distillation process, and in the distillation process you have seen that we are converting the liquid, we are converting the vapors into the liquid form by the use of condenser, by using the condensation process. So that's how, student, you can see that the liquid water can be converted into what I can say to vapors, and then vapors again convert back to liquid. So generally, student, for reversible changes, when you can say that A is going to be converted into the B, so this sign represent the reversible change. That means A can be converted into the B and B can also be converted into the A. So this is the reversible change. Fine. So these are the example of the reversible changes, students. So what you can see that the changes which can be reversible in nature, and that means you can reverse that process, and it's like that new substance is not going to be formed from that, so we can say that these are the reversible changes. Okay, for example, students, like converting of day into night and then night into day. So how, like night and day are na, and we are not getting any other kind of day any other kind of thing from that, so you can say that it is also kind of reversible thing, that it is a fixed thing, and I don't know who has done that. Maybe it's the god only, that after sun it's turn of moon, and after moon it's the turn of the sun, and that's how the whole process goes on. Exactly. So you can see that that's also kind of reversible change. So student, this is not exactly change, but this is a reverse thing. Exactly. So that's how, now I think after listening, like after studying that what is the reversible change, now you can easily find it out that whatever the changes are going on around your, like around yourself, so you will find out that whether it is reversible in nature or not. Okay. Now, irreversible changes. So firstly, we have talked about the reversible one, that in that condition what you are observing, that you can convert one form to the another, and then another, like then after that you can say that B to A again, if I talk about AB. Exactly. But again, if we talk about the irreversible, so what's the irreversible changes, student? So these are the type of the changes which are not reversible. Okay, that once the once you can say that change has taken place, so it is not going to be reversed back. So that is why you can say that change which is permanent and cannot be undone by any physical or chemical process, so we call it as the reversible changes. So generally students, the chemical reaction, I'm not talking about all, but the chemical reaction which are going on, so they are generally irreversible in nature. So you can see that this is a kind of funny thing, and the reactions are going on because students, chemical reactions are generally that after the changes we just get the product and we can't convert such product back into the reactant. So these are the kind of the irreversible changes. For example student, for example, first of all understand what is the reaction. So when there is the A and reacts and we get it convert to the B, so this is the kind of the reaction student, that A is converting into the B. Okay, now when A is converting into the B student, so what happened at that point, that B is a product which we are getting and we call A as a reactant. Fine. So now when the reaction has taken place, now B is not going to be converted back to A. So that is not possible in the case of the irreversible changes. So you can see that these are the kind of the changes which are permanent. Why we are calling them as permanent? Because you can't reverse that condition. So that's how these are the reversible are, that you can reverse that condition, but irreversible are in which you can't reverse that condition. Okay. So these are the irreversible changes, students. Fine. And now I'll show you some of the example here, like burning of candle. You can see once the candle has burned, so you can see after that you can that we are having wax. So that is how it is the irreversible. Breaking of eggs. Breaking of eggs, student, like when you have made the omelette of from that egg, so you can't convert that omelette into the egg. Exactly. So that's how students, such type of changes we can say that these are the irreversible changes. More examples are there, like making of chapati. Making of chapati. So, like first of all, what we are having flour. Okay, wheat flour we are having. So, first of all, from that flour, what we used to make, we may used to make a dough, and after that dough, what we used to make the chapati from that. So, will you be able to convert back the chapati into the dough? Exactly not. So, these are the irreversible changes, student. And if I say that first of all, we are having raw vegetables, and then we cook them and we are getting our food. So will you be able to convert that food again into the raw vegetables after cooking process? Exactly no. So that's how student, these are the permanent kind of changes, that once the chapati has been made or once the food or the vegetable has been made, you can't reverse that process. So that is why we are calling them as the permanent changes or the irreversible changes, because you can't reverse that condition. So that's how these are the reversible and the irreversible changes. Okay, I hope you got the correct explanation about the reversible one and the irreversible one. Okay, now moving towards the another type of changes which we are having in this chapter. So if I ask you that whether what should I ask you? Mm, let me think. You'll say, ma'am, you'll take so much time for asking question. It's not like that. I just want to ask one thing. What should I ask to you? Um, like if you are eating chocolate, so that chocolate which you are eating, and you can melt the chocolate again. Okay, like the chocolate which we get from the market, so we will and you melt it. So what's that's the process, is the reversible one or the irreversible one? So, students, the answer of this question is somewhat different. Like the chocolate, the shape of the chocolate which we are getting from the market, if I draw the shape, it will be look like this. Chocolate is having this kind of shape, no? It's a kind of 10 rupees chocolate. Okay. So when you melt it down, so it's just that from solid form. from solid form, it is converting into the liquid form. But it's just that it's not like that only chocolate is made up of the chocolate only. They are the mixture of the many of the things. Now you can't separate them out. So that the reversible process is still here only, but after that it is the kind of irreversible thing. So that's how student reversible and irreversible can be, you can say that it can be take place simultaneously, not simultaneously actually, like they can exist in one thing. Okay, because you can ask this question that ma'am, reversible and reversible both are taking like separately only every time. It's like that student, one thing can have some type of changes which are reversible for that condition, and some are which are irreversible. Like I have given you the example of chocolate, like you can convert that solid chocolate into the liquid one by melting it, but the point is that the chocolate is having the mixture of different components. Now from that you can't separate them out, so that is the irreversible one. Okay, so that is how reversible is also there and irreversible is also there. But it's just that what we have to focus is the thing which you can reverse. For example, when you have melted the chocolate and if you freeze that chocolate, after some time definitely you are getting the solid one. Exactly, so that is the reversible one. But it's just that irreversible are such type of the changes which are permanent. You can't reverse that. Okay, good. Okay, so now it's the time of the physical changes which we have to study. So till now what we have done, we have seen that change in shape, change in size, change in position, reversible, irreversible. Oh god, we have done so much. Exactly, like in a very small time we have revised all these 5 things. Not revised, oh my god, why I'm saying revised? Because it's just that we have just started this chapter. Okay, so don't take it seriously about the revision. It's just that we are doing the chapter, like we have just started our chapter, so revision will be later on. Fine, so don't worry that ma'am, we are doing revision. Actually we are studying this chapter for first time. Okay, so now starting with the physical changes. So now what are the physical changes, students? If I ask you that what's the difference between the physical properties and the chemical properties, so what you'll say? So if I tell you that the physical properties are those type of properties which are depending upon their physical appearance. For example, the particular shape, particular size, color, or their state, or how they are appearing to us, so we call it as the physical properties. For example, if we talk about the physical appearance of any person, so how we say that yeah, that boy is tall, or that girl is tall, that girl is short, or that girl is having like she's wearing, or if we talk about color of their clothes, so that's how that she's wearing black color clothes, so that's how we are talking about their physical properties. That means by observing those properties we are telling this thing. So you can say that the physical properties are those properties by observing only we say about that these are the this is the color, say shape or size. So students, when the physical properties changes, we call them as the physical change. Okay, and at that point their chemical composition remains same. Okay, so that's how these are the physical changes. For example, now you'll say that ma'am, you are repeating your example, but it will be a very simple example for you. For example, students, as if I say that water, so water is H2O only. Okay, whether it is present in the ice form, whether it is present in the liquid form, or whether it is present in the vapor form. So it will H2O only. You can't say that in the vapor form it is converting into HO2 or the H3O. No, it's the same chemical formula. But when you freeze ice, when you freeze the water, like when it is in the liquid form and when you freeze that water, so what will happen, student, that it convert into the ice form. Exactly. So you can say that only the shape or the, you can say the state of the water is going to be changed. So it is converting from the liquid state to the solid state, because ice is what? Solid state only. So you can see that the change is going on around their physical properties, but the chemical formula of the water is same. Exactly. That it is not going to be changed. That for the liquid it is also H2O, and for the ice it is also H2O. So their chemical formula is same. Nothing is changing in their chemical formula. It's just that their physical states are going to be changed. So that is why, student, we call it, so the physical changes are such type of changes in which you will observe the change over the physical one, but the chemical composition will remain intact, or you can say same. Fine. So if I ask you one question, that growing of, okay, no, it could not be a good thing to ask right now because it's a different kind of thing. Fine. So yes, I can ask you this thing. Like, we have seen that blowing of balloon. Okay, so on blowing of balloon, student, what we have seen that first of all the size of balloon is this only, and after blowing air into this, so we have find out that the size has been increased, but this size can be convert back into this when you pin this balloon and all of the air comes out of that. है ना? Exactly. So that's how, student, what you have seen that the changing is going on over their size only, whether the material of the balloon, you can say the material of the balloon will remain same, the color of the balloon which it is having, obviously it is same. So that's how, student, you can see that the material of the balloon is going to be remain same, but it's just that their size is changing, which is a physical property. Exactly, physical properties are what I have already told you: shape, size, color, state, that which we can observe by observing that particular thing. Like, if I ask you that what's the physical appearance of mine, so you'll say, ma'am, you are having black color sweater, and you are you are having long hair. So that's how you can say it's that by observing my thing. Exactly. So that is how, student, these are the physical changes which take place only over their physical properties, but their chemical composition remains same. Okay, so these are the physical changes. Examples: folding of a paper sheet. Folding of a paper sheet, student, how? Like, if I'm having any paper and I just do something for that, and again I just try to make it like I just try to press it, so I'll get the paper again. Exactly. And even though when you start folding the paper and after open that fold, so what you'll find out that the paper is, you are getting the paper only. So that's a folding of a paper sheet. Melting of a wax. Okay, that it could be the reversible thing. Freezing and boiling water. Okay, now you say, ma'am, burning of candle and melting of wax. See, when wax got melt, so we can convert back into the candle. But when the candle is burning, so you can't get back the candle, na. So that's how there's the difference. So that is the melting of wax. Freezing and boiling of water, as I've told you. Melting of ice. Condensation, vaporization, magnetization, a compass needle, dissolving sugar in water. Now that's the important thing. Like, we have talked about all of these things, but dissolving sugar in water. See, students, you are having one glass of water. Okay, so now in that glass of water, what you are doing, you are adding the sugar. Okay, so that means you are getting the sugar solution. Okay. Now, if I ask you to separate out the sugar and the water, so my students, so you have seen this thing that in the case, if we talk about the separation techniques. Exactly. So in the separation technique, what you can do, you can take a kind of the utensil or a boiler or some kind of that thing. You can transfer the solution into this thing, and you start boiling it. Okay, this is a kind of the burner. So when you start boiling it, so what happens, student, that the water will convert into the vapor form, that it is having the sugar solution. Okay, this is the sugar solution. And from that sugar solution, water on boiling on boiling or on heating, you can say, it will convert into the vapor form. And see, you can collect these vapors, and you can convert these vapors again into the liquid by the condensation process. If you remember, what's the condensation process is? When you convert the vapors back into the liquid by cooling them, so you are getting the liquid, and when all of the water is evaporating, so you will just get the sugar behind. So that's how, student, you can separate it, and that is why we are calling it as the physical change. Fine. So I hope you understand this whole process of the physical change. Okay. Now, what are the properties of physical change? So you can see that they are temporary in nature. Exactly, student. When they are, when you are observing that they are reversible in nature, that you can see exactly that the sugar solution is again converting into sugar and water, and the paper fold, and you can see that the condensation, vaporization, that that you can see that the ice converting into water, water again converting into the ice. So you can see that these are the changes which are temporary in nature. We are not getting something permanent from that. Does not affect the internal structure of a substance. Exactly, from internal structure of substance you can talk about their chemical composition. Chemical composition you can take here. Chemical composition, how, student? As I told you the example of H2O. If it is H2O, so it will remain as the H2O. There will be no such alteration in its formula. So only the molecules are rearranged. For example, student, that the solid particles are very tightly packed. That solids are very rigid in nature. So when we convert it into the liquid form, so they will convert into the, like, they just start flowing. Exactly. Like if I talk about ice, so ice is rigid because you have seen this thing also, that we can't break down the ice with our hand only. Exactly. And when you convert it into the water, so water start flowing. So it's because of their molecules are rearranged. That means that solids are very rigid, that they are having the very strong attraction between their particles. But if we talk about water, so in that condition, student, the molecules are somewhat far apart from there. So you can see that in the case of the ice, that the particles are very close to each other, but in the case of the water, they are somewhat far apart from each other. So that's how there is the rearrangement of the molecule. That's why we are observing the physical change, but we can reverse this thing as well, that water convert back into it. No new substances formed. So yes, student, there will be no new form, no new substance is going to be formed, as we have seen already. So exactly, most of the physical changes are reversible in nature. Okay, most of the are reversible. Okay, so these are the properties of the physical change. So that means we have discussed all of the we have discussed each and everything about the physical change. Fine. Now moving towards the chemical change. Now chemical change, so as you can see here in this picture, that there's the burning of wood. Burning of wood. So you can see what's the burning of wood is. Burning of wood in the presence of oxygen, we can see that it's the kind of combustion reaction going on. Exactly. So after burning of wood, students, what we get ashes. So will you be able to convert that ash again into the wood? Exactly, no. So that's how, students, such type of changes in which you are getting some permanent change or you are getting something new formation, so we call such type of changes at their chemical changes, because they are converting their chemical composition. First of all it was wood, but after some time you are getting the ash. So you can see that the carbon content which is present in the wood, it is going to be convert into the carbon dioxide. So that is how the chemical composition is also changing. Fine. So you can see a substance is said to undergo a chemical change when there is either formation, or you can see here, either formation or breaking of a new substance. Breaking of a new substance, that means you okay, I'll just show you again. See that when this wood is burning, so first of all there is a wood log which is very hard in nature, but after some time when when you have seen that the wood is completely burned, so after that you just find out the ashes, and that ashes are very light in nature. So that's a, student, you can see when you see that there is some formation or when there is the breaking of any of the things and you are just getting the new substance, so that we called as the chemical changes. Fine. Now the examples. So you can see here, student, example is burning of paper. Once the paper has been burnt, you can't reverse that thing. Exactly. So that is the burning of paper. Burning of fuel. Rusting of iron. Exactly, student. If you're having any iron nail and you just put that iron nail in the surrounding for around 10 to 15 days or more than that, so what you'll find out that iron nail is having a brown color of the layer over that, and we call it as the rust. So that is the rusting of iron, and you can't remove that rust, and that's how this is the kind of this chemical change. Souring of milk. Exactly, student. Souring of milk. How that? First of all, you are having milk and you are converting that milk into the curd. So will you be able to convert that curd again back into the milk? Exactly, no. So that is how these are the chemical changes. Growth in a living being. That now see now I am this much of height. Okay, so will you be able to reduce my height? Exactly, no. So that's the growing of the living being. For example, even though plants or the animals, so we can't reverse their growth. Digestion of food, burning of wood, so all of the changes in which something new is getting formed and there is some change over their chemical composition, and when you can't reverse them, so such type of changes are called as the chemical changes. Okay, so what's the difference between the physical change and the chemical change? That the physical change are just, you can see that they are reversing nature, but the chemical are having the irreversible nature. Okay, so these are the properties of chemical changes. That is the permanent in nature. Obviously, student, like we have seen milk to curd, that you can't convert that curd back into the milk. So that is how it is the kind of the permanent change. Since the original composition of the substance changes, one or new substance are formed. As we have seen that the wood is having the carbon content. Okay, and after the burning of the wood, it converts into the carbon dioxide. So that's how you can see that the chemical composition is changing, and from the carbon you are getting the carbon dioxide. So that means there is the change in the composition of the substance, and you are getting some new substance formed. So these are the, you can say that the original composition is changing. Fine. Forms of energy such as heat, light, or electricity may be emitted or absorbed. So that depend upon the type of the reaction. For example, if again we talk about the burning of wood. So in the burning of wood, we are getting heat, we are getting light as well. Exactly, there is the emission of the light and heat. Burning of paper is the same thing. So that is how in such type of changes, either the heat or light is getting emitted or absorbed. So that is the kind of chemical changes. Chemical changes is generally irreversible in nature. Okay, that they are not going to be reversed back. As we have discussed already, at least it cannot be reversed by simple physical means. Yes, it can be irreversible, but if we try to just, like if I just try with my hand so that I can convert the ash again back into the paper, or the ash of wood again back into the wood block, so it could not be possible for me. And even though there is no such chemical process also to do that. So that is why we call that chemical changes are irreversible in nature. Fine, students. So all of these things are included in the chemical changes and the physical changes, and we have seen the properties as well, that the physical changes are temporary in nature, which you can reverse easily, and that chemical changes are somewhat permanent, and you are getting something new thing is going to be formed. Okay, so that is how student chemical changes are there. Fine. See, if I ask you that the glowing of bulb, like if I ask you this question, that glowing of bulb, because students, when the bulb starts glowing, so you can see that it will start emitting out the light. That's why we use the bulb now. And if you see, like I don't want you to do this thing, but it's just that if by mistake, if your hand touches the surface of the bulb when it is glowing, so what you'll see that it is also emitting the heat also. Okay, so it is emitting light and it is emitting the heat as well. So what you will say that whether the glowing of bulb is a kind of the chemical change or a physical change? Think about it. You are getting light and heat from that. Exactly. And what's the chemical change? That it is having the form of energy such as heat, light, or electricity. So what you will say about glowing of bulb? So students, the thing is that glowing of bulb, that when you switch on the light and when you switch off the bulb, so you will see that the glowing of the bulb depends on that condition. So you can see that the glowing of bulb is can be a reversible kind of thing, because the glowing of bulb is reversible. Exactly, not in that sense I'm talking about. It's just that when you switch on the light, so it just starts glowing. When you switch off it, it just stops glowing. So you can see that even though there is the emission of light and heat, but depending upon the situation which you are getting, and nothing new is getting formed from that. Exactly. And even though there is no change in shape and size, but it's just that what you have to focus, when any of the thing is can be changed from, like when anything can be reversed, so these are the reversible changes, and when anything is getting very permanent, that are the irreversible changes. Okay, so that's how student: reversible, irreversible, physical and chemical. It's just that you have to be very particular about their points. You don't have to be confused with all of these things. Fine, that is why I have asked this question here. And I hope after listening all of these things, you are having a better understanding about this, and just read all of these topics very carefully, because students, we have completed all of the topics which we have to cover in today's session. Fine. So it's just that what I want from you, that please read this chapter again and again, and be what I can say, be particular about the type of changes. And if you're having any question, if any query come to your mind, so what you can do, you can post your question over the forum, and definitely you will get your answer. And that's how your each and every session of this chapter is going to be very wonderful, and you will find out something new in that. And see student, it's not like that the changes which I have told you, they are just there. It's just that you are surrounded with changes, so you can find it out at any place. That is why at the very initial of this class, or at the very starting point of this session, what I have told you, that this is the type of the chapter when you are going to like after reading this chapter, when you are going to any place or anywhere, so you'll start observing the changes, and in your mind it will start coming that whether it is the reversible, whether it is the irreversible. So that's the thing for this chapter. Okay, so this is a very good chapter, and read it. And yes, you can post your questions over the forum, private forum or public forum, and you'll get your answers. And students, watch these videos carefully, and thank you for attending this session. And one more thing, very important, keep learning from Ask IITians. Thank you.